Hello everyone! Welcome in. I am Zenny, and today I'm going to be reading a fic titled Ripples on Deep Water by an Orphan Account. Today will be chapter 26 called Some Nights. Summary. Izuku's pet crossbow is a good girl and Shota is not a dad, even though he definitely is. There are some trigger warnings. Here's a bit from the notes, because the author does a good job of laying out the trigger warnings. So, trigger warning for a panic attack and the aftermath of a night terror. From now on, Izuku will be exhibiting symptoms of PTSD. Anyone who's triggered by these topics, please don't read, or if you do, please make sure you are in a safe environment. These symptoms include depression, acute anxiety, PTSD, night terrors, and anxiety and panic attacks. Siri loves her human. Siri remembered being nothing more than an it, a passing thought in a string of code. Siri had never thought, never wondered, never imagined. She simply was, and simply being was terrible. Forgotten. And then she was remembered. She recalled being torn from her string of code, made into her own, and nurtured by many hands until she was many strings of code. She was no longer an it, instead an intelligence. Siri spoke her first words under careful crosshair eyes and took her first steps with help from hands that smelled of nuclear energy. Her first thoughts were printed in perfect calligraphy, her first emotions sparked by a violet gaze. She stretched her eyes wide and wanted to know, wanted to be more than an intelligence. She wanted to have a real purpose, and she wanted to understand humans. And with her first want, she became a being. Aunt May, as the crosshair eyes had insisted Siri call her, wept true tears when she told them of her wants. Aunt Pearl, the violet gaze, showed her someone. Midoriya Izuku, the most humane being that Siri had ever had data on. She watched countless hours of video of him building, read countless notes, heard countless impassioned words from his mouth as she hid in Aunt May's phone, listening to her and Midoriya Izuku talk. Midoriya Izuku was a human with a broken heart, but she decided that he would be her human. She had found her purpose. She wanted to protect Midoriya Izuku. Siri didn't particularly care that she was being built as a gift for him. She understood. She could think and speak and wonder and want. And so did the humans. They didn't want to force her to do anything, so they introduced her to Midoriya Izuku first, and she loved him. He was her human, and she was very happy to protect him. Learning he had designed the medal Aunt Momo made was an experience in itself, a wonder at how smart her boy was. She loves her human. That did not stop her from laughing at him when the Aizawa threw him on the mat for exactly the 37th time today, though. Still, though, she stretches out her joints and leaps down. "You okay, boss?" He blinks at her from behind the mask, and Siri does her best to smile back. "I'm all right, Siri. How many times is that?" 37, boss." "Of course you counted." She huffed in reply, her tail flicking. "Aunt May wants blackmail." "Traitor. Go tell Toshi it's his turn to get his ass kicked and stop cowering in the bathroom." She paused, rotating her ears toward the door leading down the hall. Rustle of loose clothes, a thud, and a swear. The Shinso was wearing civilian clothing and tripped over his hero suit. "I will retrieve him in hero gear," she tells him with no small amount of mischief on her mind. And if she chased the Shinso out of the bathroom only half-dressed and screaming like a little girl, it wasn't her fault he wasn't expecting her to just wiggle under the door when he took too long. Plus, seeing her human go bright red will be a cherished memory. Today had been an experience. while most of the day had honestly been Shota throwing his 2 interns around the dojo and watching them, honest to Kami, fight over who got to sit the next few rounds out, there were a few gems, like when Midoriya's new demon cat held Yuki, his idiot white cat, hostage until she was fed. Midoriya had to call Hatsume to figure out what she was even supposed to eat. Seeing a cat plugged into a wall was definitely not what he planned on when he took in the 2 interns. Hisashi wouldn't be home until morning. He had to stay behind to do more paperwork and show Jiro what to do around the agency while he was away, which would probably take him until late at night, and sleep there. So when he finally collapsed in bed with the 2 interns on futons in the guest room, he wasn't expecting anything eventful until he had to swear them to secrecy about his private life when Zashi came home. The room was silent, and he reveled in it. Midoriya and Shinso were quiet, but he liked being alone best. Shota slept fitfully as always, drifting in and out, half expecting to be up and out of bed to get ready for patrol before reminding himself that he didn't have to do it tonight and going back to sleep. Something cool jabbed his face. Shota snapped awake and stared into ice-blue eyes set into a metal feline face. "Boss is in distress," Siri told him, teeth flashing in the low light. "The Shinso doesn't know how to handle it, and my base code commands that I find someone that can." "Boss?" His foggy mind tried to piece together what the crossbow cat on his chest was saying before it clicked. She called Midoriya boss. "All right, I'm coming." Out of habit, Shota sleeps fully dressed, thankfully. So he just had to jump up and grab his capture weapon, already headed to the guest room. All 5 of his cats sat outside the door, Yuki at the back and Terminator batting at the doorknob. He pushed the door open as quietly as he could. Shota was met with the view of Midoriya curled in the corner, hands scrabbling at his bare throat, and eyes wild and unseeing. Shinso was about a meter away, talking softly and trying to calm the other down. The cats wound around Shota's heels, the particularly brave Terminator following on Siri's heels to Midoriya. "Hey, boss," the crossbow cat chirped uneasily. As Shota neared, he saw how quickly the boy's chest rose and fell. Panic attack. "Midoriya," he began. The boy didn't acknowledge him. "Midoriya, you're safe. Do you hear me?" He nodded minutely. "Do you remember who I am?" A long pause, then Midoriya nodded again. "Okay. Can I take your hand?" A longer silence before his intern nodded again, and Shota gently took his hand and put it against his chest. "Try to match your breathing to mine. You're going to be okay." Silence settled over the group of 3 as Shota paced his breathing, as exaggerating how deep his breaths would go and watching Midoriya start to breathe at a more reasonable pace. "The annoying cat that's trying to murder Siri is Terminator," Shota tells the small boy softly. Nomuri named him that because he likes to kill birds and drop them all over the house because he has a fucked up sense of what gifts are. And the fat white one Siri held hostage is Yuki. He's really lazy, and once he went out to the porch when it was snowing and nobody could find him for hours. Pam, the orange one, has the same amount of intelligence as a sack of bricks, but we named him Pam, like the cooking spray, because there's this one skillet he likes to sit in. Keg, the brown tabby, is even stupider. He likes to eat things that will definitely poison cats, but he's just one of those animals with a quirk. The vet called it anti-venom and told us to just let him eat what he wants because apparently he's immune to it. Anyway, we named him Keg because I found him behind a bar sitting in a bowl of alcohol some drunk left out. Midoriya blinked slowly and Shota steamed on. The last one, the gray one, is Fluffy and she's a bastard. In shedding season, she likes to burrow in my hero suit, so I have to go out on patrol looking like some human cat mutant. She also likes to dump her wet food in the most inconvenient places and eat the papers I'm trying to grade. It's hard enough to get through Kaminari's latest essay without Fluffy chewing on it. Eventually, Shinso creeps forward enough, and Midoriya burrows into the taller boy's chest with a whimper. Shota just talks, telling the 2 interns about how all of his cats are awful. He'd forever deny falling asleep with his back against the wall and Midoriya squeezed in between himself and Shinso. When Hisashi got home, of course the first thing he did was seek out his husband to bitch about how tired he was. It might have slipped his mind that they had guests until he heard loud swearing from the guest room and a very pissed Midoriya threw open the door. "I will not hesitate to yeet you out that window," he snapped, already stomping toward the kitchen. Sho dragged Shinso out next, and Hisashi rolled his eyes. Probably fell asleep being a dad. TM again. Problem children 1 and 6, Yamada Hisashi. Zashi, Midoriya, and Shinso. Sho gestured vaguely before muttering some threat or another to the two kids. Wait, you're married? Shinso asked with wide eyes. Hisashi could hide a snort. I'm just as surprised as you are most days. He busied himself with making breakfast. Shinso swore loudly, and as Sho whipped around, likely to lecture him about being judgmental, and Hisashi looked over too, just to see the purple-haired intern angrily counting out yen into the smaller teen's palm. You all really need to stop betting against me, Midoriya told the other smugly. Mei already owes me 50,000 yen for the cats. There was shocked silence before even Sho laughed. Yeah, this was going to be an interesting week with those two interns running around. Rah, that's the end of the chapter! Guys, this one's so cute and silly and also, like, kind of heartbreaking. Like, I love how this fic has that perfect, like, balance between crack and angst. It's just, oh, mwah, perfection. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, please leave a like, comment, subscribe down below, and go click the link down below to reach the fic on AO3 and give it a kudos and a comment over there too. And yeah, I will see you guys next time. Bye bye!